Hi everyone, I promised in class today I would put together a short video on the baseball diamond. So let's get started. So first thing we need to do is we need to find something that's going to look like a baseball diamond so we can have a frame of reference. So first thing I'm going to do is just come up here and type in baseball diamond and go to images and try and find something that looks like a baseball diamond. That kind of looks like something pretty good right there. Now that's on a sticker, but at least we get an idea of what it kind of looks like. So let's go back over here to Vectory, and I think what we're going to do is get some background information first. So let's take a look at our grass here. Our grass has a thickness of 2 or a Z of 2, so our basic pieces that we start with need to be about 2, and we're going to make this 100 by 100. So we're going to start with a box and drag that box out here, and the box is 100 by 100. The only thing we need to do is change the Z on this down to 2. Let's make it 2.25, so it's sticking up through the grass, and pull that back a little bit so it's kind of centered there, and that'll be the start of our infield. We're going to overlay a piece on top of this as well that's grass, and we're also going to put some other circles here. We need to put a circle around the back of this. So the easiest way for us to do that is to go ahead and get a cylinder. And when we look at that cylinder, we know that we're going to have to make some modifications to it. We'll bring it out here first, right about where we want to put it, right about there. And then we're going to change our radius segment. So we want to get our radius segments way up there. Probably about 50 looks good. That'll give us a nice rounded outfield. And what we're going to do here is we're going to change the size and bring the size up. Take a look at this from the top. So let's scroll this down and tab it in, so we can kind of get an idea of where we want this to be. So if we do this and then we go ahead and change our size on it, we can get it pretty close to where we want it. Almost there. Looks like it's going to be about 135. And that looks like it. I think 135 does it for us. So we'll just bring it back, just tweak it back just a little bit. And our next step here is we need to get rid of half of this thing, and I want to get the Z way down. So let's get the Z down to 2.5. So when we take a look at this from the side, we're right there. Well, right now this is covering our box completely. There's our box, and our circle's covering it completely. So we want about half of this circle gone. So to do that, I need to bring it up a little bit to do some work on it. So I'm going to change this Z for the moment to about 30, just so it's a little easier to work on. And I know I only have one height segment, so that's really all I care about. I really don't want to have a lot of height segments on this, because if I do, then what ends up happening is it makes it difficult for me to edit it. So I'm going to go into edit, and yes, I want to bake this. And what I'm going to do is I want to try and take it right across on the angle. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select a marquee, and let's do this. Let's move this first. So if we can get we need to go back into object mode to do that. Let's move this over onto the grid someplace so we can we can get it where we want it. So let's put it back at 0, 0. And that will put us right there, and we can work off of the grid to get that segment separated. So let's go back into edit, and we're going to come over here, look at it straight down, and we're going to go in here and take our select tool and marquee, which is going to give us a box, and we're going to come right down here like this, and we're going to delete everything that's there. So that's going to leave us this circle. Maybe it deleted a little too much. I don't want to delete that all that much. So let's do a Control Z, and we'll redo that and just grab it right there. I don't want to grab everything. No, that's not right yet. Let's look at it from the top again and get our marquee tool, which we could always just press the M key to do that. Oh, you know, I got to get this into the orientation that I want. There we go. So again, the marquee tool, and we're going to take it right like this so we can grab that and this. It's going to highlight all of that there, and we're going to go ahead and delete that. Well, it's still not exactly what I want, but it'll do. So I'm going to grab this line, and I'm just going to pull this line forward a little bit, and that'll fix that segment. What I'm trying to do is get a half circle out of it, and it took away a little bit more than I wanted to, so I'm fixing that half circle. And what I want now is I want this line right over here. So if I can see if I can grab that. Grab a line, zoom in here, grab that. There we go. All right, and we're just going to pull that out a little bit. So now we have a half circle if we look at this from the top. That's pretty good. All right, now if you look over here, we have right over here behind us, we have our baseball diamond. So we could go into object mode and get a location for that, and we've got that at minus 213. So let's make this at minus 215. Where did that go? Minus 215 and minus 215, so we can keep our numbers the same. All right, so that's in place now, and now we're going to come back over here and grab this, and we're going to say we're going to move this to minus 215 and minus 215. And we have our pretty close to where we want it. Not exact, but we'll line it up now. Get over it from the top, and we'll get an idea of what it looks like. We can also, at this point, unconstrain and take this down to 2.5. So let's get over top of this and take a look at where we want to put it. I'm going to push this out just a little bit here. Good there. And now we need to make it just a little bit bigger. So let's see, we've got a Y here of 134. Let's see if we can make this 136. A little bit more, maybe 138. It's getting close to where we want it. So let's bring that over there a little bit. And let's bring this to 140. I think that's pretty much where we're going to end up being. I think that gives us the nice shape. We just need to shift it out just a little bit. Oh, grabbed the wrong one. That happens more often than I care to think. So right now we have just a little bit of the square poking out there and a little bit of it poking out here. So let's work on improving that size a little bit. Unconstrain this and let's make this 69. And that pushes it out a little bit more. And now we've got that little bit of space that we want. Now, again, this location is really important for us because we're going to place another block on top of this. We're just going to duplicate what we have here, shrink it down, and turn it into this color so we have the grass part of it. So we have this. Let's do a Control D. Created another box for us. We're going to take this down in size to, let's say, what does 80 look like? 80 is still a little bit too big. How about 75? 70? $70 looks good. Okay. So we're going to take that down to 70. We're going to unconstrain. And we're going to push up. Now remember, these pieces are at 2.5, so we want this to stick up above it. So we're going to go 2.75. And then we're going to change the color on that. So let's come over here and find this color. Look at our material on this. And we have a color of, so we're going to copy that. We're going to go to our box here in the center, and we're going to paste that in there. Control V. Just hit enter, and there's our grass. Now let's work on getting the sand color, the gravel color for the infield. We need to come over here to more of a sand color. Right there looks kind of good, and let's bring this right out like that. So there's our sand, and we've got a color here. We're going to copy that. We're going to click on our square, and we're going to change our infield color to that. So right now we have an infield, we have grass, and we got to remember what our heights are. So our height for this one is at 2.75. That means when I put these small circles in here for the bases and the pitcher's mound and the larger one here at home plate, they need to be at least 3.0 so they'll show. So our first step here is going to be to go get another cylinder. So we're going to go to Object, we're going to get a cylinder, and we're going to bring that cylinder over to -215 and -215. And that should center it. We're pretty close to it. And now let's change our radius segments on this, get this up to about 50. So that's good. And now we're going to shrink our size on this. So we want to bring this down pretty significantly. Make this at about 20. How does 20 look? 20 looks pretty good. I like 20. Okay. Now we're going to unconstrain it and take our Z down to 3. And we can see that it's still poking out, and we do have that same color still loaded up. So let's go down here to our color and paste that in. And now we have our pitcher's mound. We can now take that and copy it here, here, and here. So we're just going to do a Control D. And we're going to pull it over here. Try and line that up as best we can. The best way is kind of tab from the top. We want that circle right there on the corner. So we're going to grab this here and just kind of set it right there in the corner. and then do another Control D. Well, first let's see if we can get these numbers better. So that's minus 250, so minus 250. And what's this other number? Minus 180, that looks good. So minus 180. Now what we need to do is shift this, make a Control D, and put it over here. And the distance of that's going, I believe, this piece right here is 70. So our Control D on this needs to move 70 in the Y, so we're going to make this minus 250, I think. So let's go in here and go minus 250. Yep, right there. And then Control D once again. And we were at minus 250 on the X, so this over here has got to be minus 180 on the X now. So we're going to change this to minus 180. And then the last one, we're going to come over here and take this to minus 180 as well, but we're going to make it bigger once we put it there. So we're going to do a Control D, and we're going to go minus 180. And then we're going to make that circle bigger. And we can do that right over here. We can leave this constrained right now, and we'll make it a little bit bigger. And then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll change the Z on it. So let's bring this up so it's bigger. We want it to be right about there. Make that big home plate area. And let's make this 41, make this 41. And then we'll unconstrain this and bring this back down to 3. So now we have our baseball diamond, and it doesn't look too awful bad. The only thing left that we can do here is add in some lines, and those lines are going to have to be at least 3.25 to show up above. So I'm going to take something that we already created, and that was this sidewalk. If I can get it to collect, there we go. And then I'm going to do a Control D on that, and I'm going to shift it over, and I'm going to shrink it down. So right now we're at 340, so I'm just going to pull this down in size and make this about, let's make this 250. And then I'm going to unconstrain that. I'm going to change the width to 1. And our height, remember we were at 3, so we want to make this like 3.25. And then on material for this, I want this to be white, because that's what the lines look like on a baseball diamond. So now we're going to take and slide this out. We may have to shorten it in length, but we have one that comes from right about here. Let's see where we are. Get this from the top. Okay, so we want to take this way, and we want to line up this edge right about there. So we're minus 320 and minus 170. So let's see where that puts us on the end. So we're off the field quite a bit. So let's bring down the size here. We're unconstrained still, so let's take this down to about 210. And then we'll have to pull it back in again. So I want this to be pretty close to the edge there. So we need to bring that in still a little bit more. Oh, grab the wrong thing. Control Z. Let's zoom in, see if we can grab this line. There we go. And pull this down this way some more. Good. So it looks like we have the size, and our position needs to be minus 294, and we're at minus 170, so that's good. Now I'm going to do a Control D, and excuse me, I'm going to shift this over, bring it down, and I'm just eyeballing these pretty much. I'm not really making them a specific location so much. So let's get this right about there, rotate it, and then I'm going to bring that out to here, right to the edge of the, right about there. And we want our rotation, we're going to fix our rotation here to 90, and fix this at minus 170, and fix this at minus 295. And I think we have a baseball diamond. Oh no, look at how high up in the air they are. Oh, we need to bring those back down. So let's see what our Z is on that. 80, wow, that's way up there. Okay, so that needs to be, let's see, these are 3.25, so we'll put that at 0. And we'll put this one at 0. How did they get up to 80? That's crazy. Okay, so that's one of the best things about being able to rotate all the way around and see things from different perspectives. So now we've got our baseball diamond all set up. And you could go a little bit further, and you could put bases in, and you could put a rubber here on the pitcher's mound, and you could put a home plate in. You could do all that. You really don't have to, not for this. In low poly, something like this will actually suffice quite well. So that's about it for today on the baseball diamond. Quick little video. I hope it helps you make yours. Have a great night.